2, 1.
Welcome,
Welcome, everyone,
to our Videocast Coast to Coast. I'm here in Long Beach, California, and I'm Marcus Rosenthal. Mr. Cadou, go ahead and introduce yourself. What's that?
I'm here in Sarasota, Florida. This is Garrett Cadou, just receiving a message that my internet is stable.
Oh, nice. Stable internet.
Across the country right now. Experiencing some technical difficulties, as Marcus always says. He'll believe that the robots will take over once we can get the projector to work properly.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we couldn't do the live Facebook stream from this feed today. So we've just invited everyone right in here to the Zoom meeting. They can either listen along, or if they so choose, they can actually chime in and harass us with questions.
People from China and stuff hopping in, like just waking up on their way to work. You got some fans from all over the world.
Actually, it's Europe that. Well, I guess it's like 5 a.m. The early wake up crew.
Yeah,
Europe, end of day in China.
That's how time zones work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of our global fans. So we were talking about just kind of getting the band back together and chatting to help others out here. We both have started precious plastic communities. Garrett, you helped really bring Precious Plastic Los Angeles online here, and then you jump shipped and traveled around the world, helped a bunch of people, met with
on the company
in Netherlands, and now you're out creating Precious Plastic Florida. So thought it seems like from all the people that are contacting us, people are always like wanting to know how they can get involved and get things started, even other locations of precious plastics, like how do you do this and that. So thought it would be good for us to just share our wisdom, open source with the community.
Yeah. I heard, for the first time tonight, I heard DIY. I've never heard it said die before. So
Someone doesn't know how to spell, but
I know. I was like, more die things. I'm like, what? Die? It sounds negative. Yeah, DIY, do it yourself, open source. And what I've just learned to describe it as, because here in Florida, we're dealing with a little bit of a older clientele. I'm calling it a recycle to small abbreviated words, co-op, which pretty much means no one gets paid up front. And that's a good way of going about it, because actually where I'm at in Sarasota, and this is where I grew up, is I think one of the highest per capita nonprofit populations in the country. So we have some of the most nonprofits per capita. And when people always ask me, like, is it a nonprofit? I say, no, we want to make money. Though we did incorporate as a C Corp in California. I did silly incorporating California instead of Delaware, like everyone does, even though they never step foot in Delaware or do any business in Delaware to avoid taxes. But we incorporated.
Why are they trying to avoid taxes?
Why would they avoid taxes?
To be smart.
So I guess I might have made it up. Yeah, right. I made it up in my head that, when I met Marcus, when I came to you, what did I tell you about my goals with precious plastic in the long run?
Well, I knew you came. You said your original contact. I could probably dig it up, but you were like, "Oh, I'm in Costa Rica, and I want to learn all about how to make the machines, and then I want to go back to Costa Rica and build precious plastic communities there. Was that what you were cueing me on?
Pretty much, yeah. And like, what is it? 2 years later, and I'm still in the U.S.
We've been
There's a
back
lot
to
to learn.
Costa Rica.
I went back for a month. It was great. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
yeah.
great. Yeah, and they are starting there. And I mean, it's touch these different communities, and that's the greatest part. I mean, precious plastic as the map, which is really under publicized in the videos, is the biggest connecting factor I feel like we have with this program. Hey, Richard's coming on. And that's how Richard found us. You there, Rich?
Trying.
Trying.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's there.
Richard would probably be considered our third leg of precious plastic Los Angeles, since he's pretty much started his own workshop on his own as an artist, and is opened his doors to allow people to come and see his machines and see his work. And
Yeah,
really,
he's our main legs right now. Otherwise, we're mostly virtual. But,
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, kind of just diving in of we can just kind of go walk through the sequence of kind of how it started, and hopefully that can inspire others to go ahead and take the plunge themselves, and maybe learn from our failures and make it even better.
Big successes, man. Come on. The Marley brothers. These are our first clients. Like, come on. This is like big time LA.
Yeah. No, we were pretty big time right away. It was kind of like that. It was funny. It all fell into place real quick. So
yeah,
I moved to Los Angeles, I grew up down in Southern California, but moved back because I was having a little baby boy. Moved in November of 2017, and was kind of looking for different ways to get involved with people in the community, and came across precious plastic, put myself on the map, said I was interested, and then I was like, hey, you know what, let me try and organize a meetup group to see who else in LA is interested, can meet some people. So I created one, actually kind of collaborated with this Tinker and Build group who already I'd gone to one of their meetups. So I kind of met a few people from that, and they helped me kind of repost it around a little. So I guess I had one other channel, and we ended up having 5 people showed up. It was a worst cuche in Venice Beach, and it was 3 days before my son was born, so luckily my wife let me walk over there. But we had it, and it was like Brian Chung, the Mr. Bioplastic Recycling. He was there. He brought 2 of his roommates, and then one other guy who I had been connected with before. And so we all kind of chatted about it. And the most interesting thing learned that night was that Brian had already bought all the shredder box parts, like the laser cut parts. And I think he spent $400 or $500 on it. And he was like, oh, I thought I was gonna be able to just build this machine and it would come together. But he's like, then I didn't know where to go from there. So I was like, oh, that's great, because I'm a mechanical engineer. I like to build things. Like, if you donate that, I'll, put in my funds to build the rest of the machine. So there it kind of started, and then we're like, all right, let's figure out where to build it. He kind of got us at least somewhat connected to the prototyping center at the LA Clean Tech Incubator, and went off and running and started trying to build it. So doing a few things, and I called Sean up, who I had met kind of recently too, and he was brainstorming stuff with me. And
So
then,
that
like,
would be great.
literally a couple weeks later, I get a message on the Precious Plastic forums from a guy who was from Parlay for the Oceans, and he said, "Oh, we're doing this big Adidas event, 747 Warehouse Street. Like, we'd like to buy machines from you guys." And we're like, "Whoa, what is this?" Like, you couldn't find any info on it or anything. We're like, "Well, is this guy even legit or what?" And so we dug into it a little bit, had a call with them. They're like, "Yeah, we want machines and we want to send them to the Maldives and have them at this event and all that. Can you quote us on 4 sets?" And we're like, "Well, we've never built anything, but we'll try and put something together." So Sean and I kind of put some crazy quote together and got us going. And then the long and short of it is 12 days before the event, they finally got back to me and they're like, "Oh, we want them. Can we move forward?" And we're like, "That is 12 days away. We have no time to be able to build these machines." And but we said, "You know what? Let's figure something out. You can maybe rent our machines that we're building." And luckily, Mr. Garrett Cadou, messaging that, like, on 11 days or 10 days before the event, "I'm coming to California. I want to learn how to make machines." Shows up there at Lacey and was our new dedicated worker, expert, painter and
Yeah,
theater and
rattle can painter.
videographer and all sorts of stuff. But so we rallied, got a whole crazy crew. There were probably 8 to 10 people helping out, including my dad and a lot of volunteers from the prototyping center and everything. And we got them built for this event. Adidas ended up paying us about $10,000 to build a shredder and 2 injectors, and it was a scramble. We were doing probably 14-hour days, maybe some 16-hour days, and everyone, was
And to work the event, to
oh yeah,
actually work the
not
event.
yeah to mention, yeah, and then it was what, a 3 or 4 day event that
Yeah,
was
it was
like
like we were putting in 12-hour days at least.
on our feet the whole day, like figuring stuff out. And
I think I found a journal post that I wrote in my phone while I was at Farmer Brothers or Farmer Boys across the street, where I was just like, this event is crazy and like everything's, going wrong. And we have like this 2.5 hour line with all these people. And then I think like halfway through that, like, writing in my phone, journaling, I ate a veggie burger. And then I was like, and now I feel great, and this is exactly what I asked for. And like, I'm at an Adidas event, and Kid Cudi's about to be on stage. And
yeah, it was like it was like it didn't go perfect, but we made it all work. Everyone essentially loved it in the end. I mean, Adidas hired us for what, 3 more events afterwards too. So and everyone was really excited. It was like we had the injector, we were oozing out the plastic from it and putting, the plastic in the molds, but we weren't even injecting into a real mold. And we had toaster ovens, and I remember we like redesigned the second day. We're like, oh, okay, we gotta like more focus around the toaster ovens and have all this stuff. And then the parlay guys were like, wait, no, you gotta like organize it all back, like, because we had this all designed. And
oh yeah, with the oil drums and stuff like that.
yeah, we just like took our own initiative to like
Yeah, right.
overhaul it, and so
Hey, by any means necessary, and that's actually how we did the following events, with Adidas. And yeah, my takeaway from that was, events bring community together when it comes to precious plastic. And I found Marcus through the map, and Adidas found Marcus through the map, and the other people that came together for the following events, which were, one was in LA and then one was in New York, and then one was in Toronto. And to prep for those events, I literally went onto the Precious Plastic map, and for about 10 hours one day, I just went and messaged every person who's on the map in the entire New York area, all the way down to Philadelphia, and then Toronto, copy and pasting the form letter, and and just having to, because of the way that the Precious Plastic messaging system is set up, when you go into your sent mail, it does not display the person that you sent it to. So I had to change my form lettering like halfway through so that I included the person's name. Hello, Jessica, or hello, Lawrence, or hello, this person, so that every time I was personalizing it. And, I still have.
I don't remember seeing that, but because
Yeah.
I think both for that first meetup, and actually we had a second meetup at Lacey that was like in January. So still, I think it was before you got out here. We had like 45 people, like an amphitheater there. We had the Made Out of What People Talk and Brian talked. But for both those events, I messaged like everyone that was within a 50-mile radius, and probably like 2 or 3 of them actually came out.
I was gonna say I just had the other day a person being like, oh my god, sorry I didn't check my messages, but like I'd love to be involved in the Toronto event, and I was like, that was over a year ago.
yeah, it's not the most responsive. Even me, sometimes I'll reply to something after a couple.
Well,
sometimes I'm good and I'll get them like a day later, but
I have 2 accounts with Precious Plastic. So I have one for at my Gmail, and then I have one at my iCloud, and then I have the one that says I'm still in Costa Rica, which I'm signing in right now. And I'm going to show you the share screen and show you the example. So when it comes to Precious Plastic, there's a lot that is involved in.
But that's to say that like the Precious Plastic map is like one of the gold mines of Precious Plastic as a global open source community of really connecting people. I think that it for it doesn't work all perfect, but for what it is and what it is, it's actually works remarkably well. We've met a lot of interesting people that we've connected through there, and it kind of like gives a little bit of visibility, and it's not okay, people are finding us on Facebook or Instagram or other places, but when you're in the official Precious Plastic map community, it's like the people are a little more serious. I feel like they're like,
yeah. Marcus, you want to let me I'll share a screen real quick and show our participants.
Oh, you should be able to just share it.
Sharing screen.
There you go.
So this is the Precious Plastic map.
Whoa, there's a lot of people on there.
I know. It's growing, and it's incredible. There's actually 10. Last time I heard a number count, it was 10,000 people on this map. So just to show, the people that aren't familiar with it. So the map is the world, and then you have these 3 options here. You have workspaces, machine builders, and want to get started. And I'll just go and click off the machine builders, and you can see there's a couple of workspaces, a lot of workspaces, more and more popping up a lot. But you can see the consolidation of Europe has a lot, and then India's got a bunch. And these are all places where people have actually gotten started the machines, and they have an actual place where they can meet up and maybe work on things, or like me, they have a clandestine workshop, but you can work with them. I'll turn that off and now just show you machine builders. So with workspaces, there's about 250 of those last time I heard a count. And then with machine builders, there's about 350 of these guys or gals that say that they can actually build the machines for you. And then turning those off, you can see all the people that just say they want to get started. These are all people that have seen the Precious Plastic video, and they've seen other content. Like I see right here, there's a bulb of 763 people. My God, in Europe is really amazing with this. But these can be like, okay, plastic killer, I just got started. Or let's go, Ahmad, I'm a music producer after I worked civil engineering workplace. I'm like a retired person who wants to help the world. I'm also a photographer. So this is just a place where anyone, an Android developer and researcher network. So you just list any kind of skill you have that might be useful to the project. You can be a house, a homemaker and just like to recycle and say, hey, how can I help? Hello from Uzbekistan. We've got everyone. And this is what I always wanted out of a social network when I was really traveling a lot in my mid-20s, to find where my friends are on a map, actually displayed on a map. And Facebook kind of has a little bit of a, friends close by, but nothing like this, to actually show where these people are. And, I've traveled down here to Kenya because I was what workplaces are. And then here in Kisi, this is actually the Precious Plastic Project, the pilot project with the UN. And I didn't get all the way out to them, but I did get to ISK, the International School of Kenya, which is amazing. It's like the UN school, and they're called Plastiki Rafiki, and they're making a really awesome skateboard. And then here's where I was at Eco World Watamu, and I got to go visit them. They have all these crazy bottle brick walls those are the bottoms of soda bottles right there in concrete. And I still WhatsApp message with these guys like all the time. So I love this map. Marcus,
how many hours have you spent on this map?
Not nearly enough is what I would say, because this is target marketing at its best. And also I like to tell people that, if you master the Precious Plastic platform and you master how to build these machines, then you could get started in Suriname, or you could go to Brazil.
Hold on. I got to briefly interrupt. Yeah. I was successful now getting us streamed.
Nice.
Onto Facebook Live.
What up, Facebook?
Figured some things out where I had to be logged in and whatnot. So welcome to all the Facebook people. We're just diving in here into talking about all the wonders of the Precious Plastic map. That's how I met Garrett here through that. And we've talked about all sorts of different people that we've connected with, both just online and in person. Garrett is lucky enough to be much more of a world traveler than me, so I'll let you keep going into some of the places who you've connected with in the workspaces.
Like I said, I was saying how the events are what bring people together. And that's really the angle we took. And I was happy to take, because I have done festival waste management at a lot of different festivals, including Lightning in a Bottle and Burning Man, and one down in Costa Rica and one down in Guatemala. And so after we did the original Adidas events, we did 2 Adidas events I want this map to repopulate. We did 2 Adidas events in Los Angeles, and then we were brought on board to do the New York event and the Toronto event. I was completely confident in the fact that I was going to be able to recruit helpers. And what was best about that was that I was also had a budget. So having a budget changed a lot of things to get people to actually come out and help me, and to help me get the machines built in time for Toronto, because Toronto had yet to build the machines. But luckily I was lucky enough to connect with Mirko, who's, let's find him here in Toronto, and Andrew, who was already in the midst of building the machines or wanting to build the machines. And I was able to say, hey, I got some money to give to you to get this done by a deadline. And also able to corral about, I think Toronto, I had about 15 people, volunteers. Some were told that they were going to be paid, some were told that they weren't going to be paid, or just on volunteers. And I was actually had enough budget where I could have paid everyone. And I had some people that said, no, you don't have to pay me. I was happy to come out for the event. That made it really real for people to say, hey, this is a real thing and you can make money off of it because look, right now I'm paying you. And this is how we can make money and show people this thing.
So what, Garrett, what's your thoughts on, because I feel like you really kind of helped turn us on to the events even, and kind of like help make like I feel like even the initial Adidas event, like you knew how to just kind of like take it and embrace the audience and kind of get everyone engaged. But what do you think it is about events that kind of make it so well suited for precious plastic?
Well, they're fun. They're fun, and people, like we were saying, precious plastic is really about the people. It's part, the machines. It's part the movement and everything around plastic, though it's mostly about the people, because what we find, you and I, Marcus, is mostly sometimes we act like a plastic aholics anonymous for people to just gush, and a lot of times, yeah, the first part
That's
of
what happened at our last workshop. That there were the people who were like, I I bring my whole set, my utensils around, and my own cup and my straw, and I don't do this and I don't do that. And it's like, great, thank you, but they really wanted to like make sure that they, do that. For me, my favorite thing is the mason jar. I'm like, actually, our new house, we only have mason jars because I think they're like the best thing ever. Like, so it's like if you can convince people to how to embrace the more eco-friendly, plastic-free, or at least single-use
yeah.
plastic-free lifestyle.
I have the eco lids that you sent me, and I picked it up again the other day, and I tried it on a couple of jars that I had, but I couldn't find an exact jar that fitted.
What? Oh,
I
geez.
love it. I love it. I'm
It's
gonna
the
find it.
standard jar size. It's the
But look
small. There's a
look what my
small
mom
one
got me. Look
and
how
there's a
big
large.
I call this my zombie apocalypse bottle, dude. I bring it everywhere. It's as big as my head. It's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everyone is like they want to confess something that they know about plastic, and then they want to confess something that they're doing wrong. Like, I still shop at Trader Joe's, and things like that. And
Oh,
the
there's a small one and there's a large.
I call this my zombie was that us?
Yeah, sorry, I was seeing that we had a little note from our buddy Hector in Ensenada, Mexico. He's someone, haven't got to meet him in person, but we've been messaging a lot. I know he's been starting stuff up. So shout
Nice.
out to Hector.
What up, Hector?
Thanks for joining in here.
Nice.
Good to see old faces, and see. We love seeing how people progress. Like another thing for me that even last night I was out at Richard's shop and we were meeting there's a high school instructor who's kind of setting up a maker space at a high school in Granada, and he's got like one student who's like super interested in precious plastic, and I think he said she's a freshman or sophomore, and just trying to figure out how to support her to kind of like have this as a long-term project. But I just love seeing like every new workspace that we can in some way help people kind of get started with, and even like on our website, I've been putting the list of like all the different ones that Richard, I wouldn't at all say we helped him get started, but he took things to his own. But he's got a great workspace, and man, you got to see his jellyfish live in person. It is
I intend to. And I got to give a shout out to Scott Hansen, my boy from, we met in Los Angeles, though we have the same network of friends called the Trash Pirates that I know that you know of, Marcus. And got to give a shout out to Scott. He's going to get started in Santa Fe, which we also have our friends with Upcycle Santa Fe, and it's super close to the Taos, New Mexico Earthship. So
maybe we should dive
eventually is build things out of plastic.
I kind of want to dive in of like saying like let's just do like the quick summary of like what we recommend to people. So if they're thinking of trying to start their own precious plastic community, what do we recommend to them?
Add yourself to the map.
Okay.
If you have yet to add yourself to the map, if you have yet to get participating on, the forums as they are is admittedly by Dave himself a bit of a mess. That is why they are creating a new platform called One Army, though you will only find out about this if you are, one, subscribed to Dave Hacken's YouTube channel, and two, on the and in the forums. And that is one thing that I actually got called out on very early and when I was in the Netherlands. They were like, you only have 200 points as your dedication, merit on the map.
Are you even allowed in our front door?
I've made lots of connections, and I've been repping precious plastic. So one, add yourself to the map. Two, is, Marcus, what you said and how you got started was your Tinker and Build group / makers groups. Find your local Tinker and Build or maker space. Maker space could also be a Fab Lab. Fab Labs are actually more franchised, more structured places where you go in and there's a lot more supervision. Maker spaces might be more accustomed to like the Burning Man community, where and less insurance policies and stuff like that. Start yourself a Facebook page. That would be number 3. Start yourself whatever you're gonna call it, and
Instagram. I feel like actually for connecting in the precious plastic community, because of the ability to easily tag stuff and hashtags and all that, the Instagram, at least in my view, is a little easier way to actually kind of like really engage with other audiences. But any and all in social media.
Well, Marcus, this might segue into our next biggest merit with, our DM game on the Instagram.
Boom, boom, with the young crowd.
Who hit us in the DMs? The Monday
it was in one of our comments. It was on one of the keychain. I think he commented on the special black Adidas keychain that we made for the what was that guy's name? He was one of the like
Bruce. Was it Bruce?
Yeah. So we made Bruce his special one-off keychain. We went out of our way to. He had the only black one, but on that Jaden Smith, Mr. Will Smith's son, said. It said, "Yo, check your DM." I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
and essentially he said, "I love precious plastic. I want to get involved. Let's chat." And so we kind of got hooked up. I ended up going by his office up in Calabasas, where he does his recording studio, and he has his crazy like rock gems and does his like clothing lines and whatnot. And
Just water.
Got it, and he was like, "Oh, we got what was the trade shows? It was some like food and beverage, like health food show. And I forget what it was called, but
it was
so a few months ago.
East, something East or West or Expo West. Expo West.
Expo West. There you go.
Expo
So
West.
it's like, oh, make me some keychains. So because he saw what we did for Adidas, so he
I'm
wanted.
gonna share a screen real quick so we can show everyone that this is real. And
water brand.
I'm gonna make a little confession here live. You know, I told Jaden that he should go to the Netherlands, and I think that's part of the reason why this happened. But I'm sharing it right now. You'll see all my conspiracy theory suggested YouTube videos on the side there. But this is the table that was made out of, I think, approximately 300 kilograms, like nearly 700 pounds of polystyrene, which is actually one of our favorite plastics to work with, but one of the least agreeable plastics for the environment's off-gassing.
Well, not even just the environment, for breathing, because that was actually what we decided to recycle at that first Adidas event, and I would say like 95% of us had like headaches for like 3 days afterwards.
Yeah.
How heavy
Always killed a few brain cells, but lots of other things kill brain cells too. So.
I love precious plastics.
Hold on.
But thank you so much for making this table. I love precious plastics so much. It's an honor for me to be in this video. It's an honor for me to receive this table. I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to everybody who helped build this table. Joey. I see you, Joey. Thank you.
This is Joey.
Frenchman Joey, and he's gonna make.
Wow, that was a pretty good pull on the going back in time on that video. That's my buddy Joey. He is a clown. I met him in the Netherlands while I was visiting the project. I actually got to go to the Netherlands as they were moving from the shop in Helmond to the new workspace in Eindhoven, which they've been in, and I think they plan to just squat in until they evict them forcefully or demolish the building. So I mean, that was these little things have big repercussions, just adding to the map, posting on Instagram, me messaging Jaden after months of silence to just be and him going and
sharing. I mean, a lot of it is sharing content, things you create, things you find in the community, kind of those types of things. That definitely, we're in the social media age, so obviously that's a good place to connect with the community. Obviously, you can connect with a lot of people virtually, but it's nice to also have the in-person meetups too. We actually did something that was pretty neat. Like I presume a lot of the people on here are in the US. There's a pretty good private Facebook group called Precious Plastic USA. I think there's almost 2,000 people on it or something. And so even on there, like I posted, because I'm a big fan of video conferencing and whatnot, like we're on here on Zoom right now. But I was like, hey, who wants to have like a virtual meetup of everyone, who's just around the country, who's on this Facebook group, and let's just pick a time and have a chat and just kind of do whatever. I think you can go find it on our old YouTube, the chat. And it was a lot of people who were pretty early on, either hadn't really started making anything yet or were just kind of getting started. I know Emma was one who, she actually came and met us. She was up in Oregon, plastic. Shout out to @Plastic Lizard Recycling.
Plastic Lizard Recycling.
Yeah, so she's doing some pretty cool stuff actually. Richard was showing me some of the things she's been building and how she's been advertising her different clips and her wine bottle stoppers and different stuff like that. But
here
turn your audio off.
No, hold on. I have it because I was editing it for my masterpiece of a video that I put off.
Well, then share your screen, but
yeah, hold on. So I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, the key is however you can connect with people. I feel like and find people that are like-minded and wanting to, go about it and work together. It's all open source and nonprofit.
There's
So.
Jasmine. We gotta give a shout out to Jasmine, our logo designer.
We don't see anything that you're showing. I
My
just
share
see
screen?
searching video. I think you're sharing the wrong screen or something.
Hold on. How about now?
No.
How about now?
No.
Companies and working with them, right?
Maybe
Share.
stop share and then reshare. Yeah, you got to pick the right window.
I thought I did. Can you see Jasmine now?
Yeah, now I got Jasmine. So Jasmine, shout out to Jasmine. She made our Precious Plastic logo. She was someone we connected with here. Actually helped us out a lot when we were scrambling to get those machines made early on as well. And now she's moved on to New Jersey to actually be working on the Loop project with TerraCycle. So she's kind of one of the key team members there, which I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to get that Loop will come to Los Angeles. So anyone out there, no matter where you are, go sign up and for Loop on the TerraCycle page, say, I want it in my city. Because I think the more people that are demanding it, the probably faster it'll grow. At least that's my theory.
Explain that. Loop is pretty much recycling everything, right? Like even cigarette butts and stuff.
No. So Loop's that's TerraCycle's thing, but it's kind of complicated how they recycle everything. What Loop is a reusable ecosystem for all sorts of consumer products, and they're working with like tons of major brands. A lot of the brands that are some of the worst polluters, like Nestle and Haagen-Dazs and Clorox and Coke and all these different brands are getting on there, and you can now get their products. Some of them are food, some of them are cleaning products, different sorts of kind of consumer packaged goods that you no longer get single-use disposable packaging. It comes in, and the Loop has worked with these companies to design reusable, a lot of it's like metal, like stainless steel or aluminum packaging that they provide their product, because these companies, their real product is the stuff that's inside, the laundry detergent, the ice cream, the whatever, the drinks, not the packaging. But you're paying a lot for the packaging and you have to figure out something to do with it. And this, they give it to you, and then actually it goes back to them. They wash it and refill it, and you get back. So it's like the milk, everyone likes to describe it as the milkman model. I don't know why it was only milk that ever was successful with doing that for so many years, and then they canceled it. But
okay.
Oh, Mr. Farmer, history lesson.
Back to Costa Rica. Every time you're done with a beer, you put that bottle back, or you bring that bottle back because you paid a deposit for it, like something small, like I think it's like 200 which is like probably like 20 cents. But every bottle is collected by Florida, which is the land of flowers in Spanish, and it is sent back to the bottler. And you can actually tell on the bottles sometimes, because around the neck of the bottles, imagine this is a bottle, but around the neck of the bottles, you can see wear marks of how many times it's been spun in the machine, because as the bottles are going through the machine, they're spun a lot. So you can tell when a bottle's been refilled many, many times, and they do that with the 12-ounce bottles, and they do that with the 32-ounce or the 40-ouncers or whatever they are. They actually do that. And they do that with Coca-Cola as well. And they do that with a couple other things. So they actually have maintained these systems. And I mean, now we have kind of more of a growler culture of craft brew. A lot of breweries offer, fill your growlers, stuff like that. I think the issue we have in the United States would be the litigiousness of our society, and everyone worried about, oh, what if someone didn't wash their growler out good enough, and then we get sued for that, and things of that nature. Though that's what they do. They sanitize the bottles and they refill them with beer, and you paid a deposit on that bottle. So when you buy your next beer, you just bring that back.
Yeah. So California, I don't know, I'm sure you heard, Garrett, but they passed the assembly bill that you are allowed, that within certain categories, restaurants and temporary food providers are required to allow you to bring your own container, which the biggest win for that, which we were talking about earlier, is for events. So, and events always have lots of single-use throwaway stuff. And now those, a lot of times they're food trucks or just other types of vendors at the events are now required to, to allow people to use the reusables. I haven't really got to try it out in an event or anything yet. I presume there's going to be some training of the workers there of understanding the rules, because I know, especially with getting drinks at events, I've often gone up with a reusable cup and been like, hey, can you fill this? They're like, no, we're not allowed to, you can't just put beer in my cup. You have to give me your
I love the
polystyrene cup.
Is when they take the cup and then they fill your cup and then they throw it out. Like they just completely, like, there's the point, and then they missed it. I mean,
yeah,
we could do this all day. So that circles us back to events and the true purpose and theme of the starting of the communities, and how we turned to events in the very beginning to generate revenue, just showing people the precious plastic machines as an entertainment value module to events. And I was pretty brash about it in my marketing to events to say, you will look more sustainable just by having us there. And just by having us there, you will help the precious plastic movement, because you will pay us some money for being there, and we will distribute that money amongst the people that are building the machines and the people that are coming out to work with the machines. And in return, we will produce these little tiny keychain pendants that have someone's logo on them. And so people can remember this experience they had where they were done with their beer cup and they walked up to you and they were like, what do I do? And they dropped it in a shredder, and then they molding machine, all under supervision, poured in the injection molding machine. Then they literally pulled down on a lever and they made this little pendant keychain out of their beer cup.
And so that was always our goal at each one of these events. We've always tried to close loop it, where see if we can make sure that they're using cups that are of the type that we're interested or willing or we can recycle, and then
not polystyrene.
Not polystyrene. But it's been tough, right, to get the closed loop, because often the food service people who are in charge of all the vendors that are very different than the kind of programming people who would hire us to be an installation. So I know at the Adidas events, mostly we weren't really able to get those to work out. You got it at Lightning in a Bottle, right? Or where have you been kind of successful with getting the closed loop to happen?
I was successful at Run for the Oceans, Toronto, 2018. So we were able to coordinate with the event producer to coordinate with the vendor coordinator to make sure that they were using PLA cups and actually displaying signage telling people that they could bring their cups to us. So that was very successful. At Lightning in a Bottle, they were already using the PLA cups, which is, okay, for those of us who have yet to hear about it, PLA is polylactic acid, lactic acid, the same kind of stuff that builds up in your mouth. It's a plant fiber plastic. It's a plant-based plastic primarily made from corn. And if you turn the cup over and it says number 7 inside the chasing arrows, aka the recycling symbol, it's really just the chasing arrow symbol. And it has to be stamped PLA, compostable, somewhere on it. A lot of people have seen it. It's got a green stripe on it, or look closely because Solo Cup actually has a green stripe on some of their cups that is made from PET #1 plastic, which is not made from plant fiber. So there's a little bit of greenwashing going on, so you have to be careful. This plastic is different. It softens at around 150 degrees and it melts. We were doing it like 410 and stuff. So we were the trash pirates who already do the coordination for the green team at Lightning Bottle in California, already lobbied for the vendors to use primarily PLA cups and cutlery and stuff like that. Though the message had gotten a little bit lost in translation that I wanted those things to be brought to me. And hopefully we can improve upon that next year. And it's all been a learning experience of who you have to talk to in order to do these events. And I'm very happy Marcus is very busy and also very happy after hours to talk to people about how they can coordinate with the sustainability of their events to get these kinds of materials and to have a precious plastic demonstration where we can shred the cups on the spot and remake them into things, though only if we can coordinate ahead of time to make sure the right type of plastic is going to be there. Because like we said, one type of plastic and polystyrene, which is number 6, your typical Solo cup. Number 6 plastic is not recyclable in the continental US that I have found. And I know for mostly a fact, and will reconfirm on Monday, that all plastics number 3 through 7 are not being recycled in Sarasota County. Or city of Sarasota.
Because 5, so, well, 5 sometimes does, 4 even more rarely. But yeah, 6, pretty much nobody, because there's so little, it's worth so little. 3 never does, because that's like super toxic.
We're going to have to do the next whole hour on the different types of plastic and pros and cons, because going back to,
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. But actually, if you want to, with another shout out to one of our lovely community members, Sophia, in one of her podcasts, did a great one on kind of debunking the recycling number and talking about the different types of recyclable plastic. And I think a big thing that probably if you ask 95% of people out there, they're going to, I forget what you were just calling it, but most people call it the recycle logo. And that most people think means that it gets recycled if you throw it in the recycle bin. And that's a big fallacy that most people don't realize, is that is more of an indicator of what kind of plastic it is.
Yeah.
So theoretically it could be recycled, but it just is telling you what type of plastic it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will be recycled if you put it in the plastic bin. Because what was very eye-opening to me as well early on learning, and that's kind of why the whole recycling system is so broken, is how little value there is for recycled plastic. And the more pure it is, the slightly more amount you can get. But like if you just have mixed recyclable plastic that are kind of contaminated, what China's wanted to stop accepting, you're looking at like $100 to $150 per ton. And that was when there was still a market in China. So now I've heard sometimes you have to pay to get it taken away. But that, even when China was still taking stuff, this was $150 per ton. Like, how much is a ton of plastic? That's like, you know, a pickup truck that's probably like piled up like 10 feet high because you have like, you know, all your boards around. Like it is a lot of material. So it's, you know, that's been the eye-opening thing to me is like, wow, there's not the recycling ecosystem is just completely broken. Like I know recently I heard the head of the Plastic Pollution Coalition saying that they updated the number, that they did some, you know, more research based on post-China ban stuff where previously the number was 9% or approximately 9% of global plastic was getting recycled. Now it's supposedly down to 4.4, which is a complete broken system. And that's, you know, coming back to kind of like starting the precious plastic community and why everyone should, you know, try and start one themselves is because the plastic recycling ecosystem, as you know it, as you have a blue bin or whatever, I think actually here I have a purple bin, but
we have a green bin with a yellow top.
Very, very little that you put in with your waste hauler gets actually recycled. So if you can create these communities, like, you know, what pretty much all precious plastics do is they say, okay, we're looking to recycle these certain numbers. Like Precious Plastic LA, pretty much PP number 5 has kind of been our favorite of recently.
Oh, yeah. I was working with it today.
Easy to work with. There's a lot of stuff there. And then the PLA, we like some, but has some drawbacks too. But those are kind of the 2 main ones we work with. So we tell people that's what we want. Bring it to us clean, you know, because once it gets mixed with all the other recyclables, paper and glass and aluminum, and, you know, people don't fully wash it off, it becomes much more expensive to actually do the recycling. But if people know, and like even I got you Garrett met my nephew who's 6, John.
Yeah.
You know, I told him like, oh, I recycle number 5, like that's what I do. And if you can get, like, I'm mostly looking for white because like white is I've found to be the most useful if you're trying to make beautiful stuff. It's kind of like you can mix a little of any other color in, and white goes a long way. But so he's constantly like, every time I go by their house, like he's like giving me a stack of some yogurt cups or different things that he's had, and they're all clean and ready to go. So it's nice. And you know, so you just create those little recycling ecosystems, and that's what we encourage like schools to do. Like, you know, that Justin Sather, who's got his Justin's Frog Project, you know, he's doing similar sorts of things with his school and friends community that they have. You know, they're over in Westchester, and they're actually borrowing our shredder right now.
Happy it's going to good use.
Which is a good point that and to anyone who's in the Los Angeles area, it's kind of a direction we've gone, that we have a few machines that we don't really have a home for or space. And so what we're really trying to do is use those as something that people who are looking to get started can borrow from us, you know, and we have a little agreement. So, hey, we still own it, and you got to give it back to us working and that sort of thing. And so then we can kickstart these different places. So like, I think LMU was the first ones who borrowed it from us. It was a mechanical engineering group from there, and they got things going. And then now this Justin Sather, who's like, has a plastic, his slogan is turning trash into treasure. You know, that he's been working on, and does some interesting stuff with a guy named Paris out in Cameroon, Africa. And next it's going to this Global Initiatives Alliance, who I don't think they've picked it up yet, but this is some high school kids that are like inspired to do something around sustainability, and they want to, you know, recycle. I think the thing they want to make right now is a iPhone case, and I'm trying to convince them to make something a little simpler, but it'll be what it'll be. And so they'll have it a few months, and then the guy who we met last night, who's this kind of high school instructor from of a makerspace up in Granada Hills. He might borrow it next too. So it's definitely I encourage anyone who, as you're getting started, try and connect with others who are interested or might already have machines. Go see them. If you figured things out, help others in your area. The other thing, I think we like to think that we're kind of the ones who've really kind of pushed and promoted the idea amongst the precious plastic community is the idea of, Garrett's called it our easy bake method, which is that because the machines are kind of tough to make and figure out and take time and money and all that, anyone who just, what?
I was showing my buddy Ben, who's coming in to help me now, and and waiting for the connection to get.
Can I let me just finish explaining what the easy bake method?
He called it the easy bake method without me even telling him that.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Well, so easy bake method, and this is the perfect thing for any of you who are like, I want to get involved in precious plastic. I want to start my own thing, but I don't know what to do yet. So there's, I guess, 3 things you need to get. One is a paper shredder. So you can shred most plastics in a paper shredder. All you need to do is cut the opening up, which normally was, something like that. Just use a Dremel or, anything you can do to cut that plastic, open it up kind of wide enough that you could put a whatever cup or coffee lid or whatever you're trying to shred in there. And if you need to step on them, cut them with scissors first. And then you just put the plastic through the shredder. Now you have shredded bits. And then, okay, that's the first half of the story. And then the second half is you need to heat that up. And what's something that is very abundant, cheap, and easy to get? A toaster oven. The toaster oven, whether it's got just a little knob or it's got a digital readout, you can precisely set a temperature. They're a good little size to make some novel little things out of plastic. And you just put it in there, and you don't even need to shred it in the paper shredder to use the toaster oven. You just put it in the tray, use some either cooking oil or mold release so that it, will unstick. And you can start working with it. And it's almost like a clay, get some, metal spatulas so you can, and probably some gloves so you don't burn yourself from the hot plastic. And you could start molding it into different things. Like it's very easy to start making like coasters, like just, flat sheets, those sorts of things. I mean, we met some people pretty early on that were just doing it in their garage. Like one guy's collecting plastic on the beach and making cool like body surfing handboards just with his toaster oven. And then he cuts it with a jigsaw and then sands it down and made clocks. And then another guy who made some amazingly beautiful surf fins. And that was it. Those 2 things. And number 3 that I was going to say that we kind of liked was you go get some silicone rubber that's like designed, like you can get it at pretty much any craft store. And that's like what you can use to make molds with. And you could take any part. It could be a 3D printed part, or it could just be, like Garrett, I think you took a shell and you took a guitar pick and all sorts of different things. Just anything you want to recreate, and you make a mold out of it. And there's tons of videos online. That the molds material we use were from a company called Smooth On. And Smooth On has tons of videos how to make the molds. And like we actually even, one of our partners, Armando, with One Plastic Life, he made tap handles, with the precious plastic injector and the silicone rubber. But all you need really to get started with the easy bake method, a paper shredder. You can get, the more sheets it's made for, the better, more thick plastic you'll be able to do. But even if you get a 6-8 sheet shredder, you'll go through a lot of the single-use plastics. And then toaster oven, probably recommend you don't use that toaster oven for food anymore afterwards. And you're ready to get started. And then from there you can kind of decide if you want to go invest in bigger and better things. But it's just such a good way to get started. That was the summary. Now I'll let you tell about your specific story.
I was just gonna say, that I was showing my friend, and I realized that that's really a lot more of what I need to be demonstrating to people, because the second you start seeing plastic melting and it's cool and it's malleable and it's it is one of those things that gets you kind of ticking. And to go back a little bit to what you were saying about to go back in my notes a little bit, shout out to Sophia, our friend of Zero Waste Co. And she does zero wasting at events. So if you do need zero waste trash sorting in your area in Los Angeles or in the surrounding area,
and she even has like reusable sets,
can help you with that. And so
if you need to like borrow like dishware, silverware, cups, all that for your events, she'll bring that there too. Like
wine glasses.
Just helps you fully zero waste your events. So.
It's super important to us to precious plastic is almost a way to transition to a more zero waste life. And to talk about the the symbol on the bottom of the plastic is called the chasing arrow symbol. So that just denotes the whole, or what most of the polymer in that specific item is made out of. So I think we're going to do the whole next podcast on just types of plastic, and we'll go over them one by one.
Safety. Everyone wants to know.
Safety,
it's safe to do this.
First and third. Okay. Fun's in the middle. I'm drinking coffee.
Actually, talking about kind of our easy bake method, that got me thinking of kind of the difference between the first event we did with Adidas in LA and the second one. So the first one, like I said, we kind of, because the injector wasn't working perfectly, we kind of had a toaster oven hidden in the back. They didn't really want it to be there and stuff. They're like, no, we want to just have the precious plastic machines. But then for the second event, they kind of realized how much more engaging it could be. That people wanted to get hands-on, working with the plastic themselves, helping finish it, turn it into a keychain. So then for the second event, that one was Run for the Oceans at Pacific Palisades. That one was completely designed as an interactive workspace. Where we had 3 rows of tables and a two toaster ovens, a bunch of molds, bunch of little spatulas, gloves. We had drills, sandpaper, the key rings and everything. And so people were then getting to do the whole making of it themselves. And then a lot more got made, because the precious plastic injector, it takes about 30 minutes per part to make. But if you can have, 6-8 different people all melting their plastic and kind of getting ready to do things all at once. And people were hanging out just at our booth, not just sitting waiting in line at the first event. No, they were for 30 minutes, learning how to do it, melting the plastic, molding it, sanding it, making their own keychain. And the whole time kind of talking with
Marcus, I just found the video if you want.
Learning all about it. And that was an incredible transition. And that's what definitely would encourage anyone who's kind of wants to run a precious plastic event to make it as hands-on interactive as possible. So it's not just you showing people how you could do it, the more that you can let people do it. And even if it's all they're doing is with some scissors trimming off a little of the excess and sanding it. Or
Marcus, I'm going to have to hold you right there and share my screen real quick so that everyone can see what it's all about. Hold on. Let's see. Let me open this. Can you see that?
It's not full width. You're only halfway. Just share your desktop will be best. Like when you're doing the share, you can click desktop and then there you go. Hey, that's me.
So this.
Look, there's even a guy in a suit. Looks like Sophia's like talking to a guy in a suit, helping him mold.
I couldn't hear you over that, but that was Marcus showing a little girl how to do this easy bake method. This was the run for the oceans. Here we go.
Yeah, look, she got her gloves on, so she was all safe. She wanted to mold it herself, and ta-da, there's the actual little...
There's me in a headband in the background. Hey, that's a good shot.
Yeah, there we go.
We got some selects.
Yeah, that was
there's
a workspace that they built for us.
There's lots of good footage like that. We're looking for me to sit down in the chair for long enough to edit all that. It's good stuff. I mean, that's it right there. Like you saw the look on that girl's face when she was watching the plastic melt, and the way that you can scoop it up, and of course safety, because it does off gas, and that's why we are always leaning towards using PLA for most of these demonstrations, and always in a well ventilated area. And if your official recommendation from Precious Plastic officials is use a respirator, use a at least a dust mask or something to just have a fan facing the toaster oven while you're doing it and blowing the fumes away from you. Type of polymer is in that plastic, which we know the melting points of, the smoke points. Polypropylene's 320 degrees Fahrenheit, HDPE is 300, or no, polypropylene's 320, HDPE is 350. Double check me on that. If you go over that, it releases toxic chemicals, VOCs, volatile organic compounds. Even under that, it could be releasing something. The thing about that is that chasing arrows symbol, which is also called the recycle symbol, only denotes the main type of polymer. It does not denote it doesn't have to list all the different types of plasticizers. It doesn't have to list all the types of phthalates in there. And all
what
the
are
other
those? Oh, wise one.
It does?
No, I said, what are, like most people, you're an expert here, Dr. Cadou, of knowing what a phthalate is and a plasticizer and those kinds of things. But what are those?
Those are things inside the plastic or that bond the polymers together. From my understanding, is a polymer is a long chain of monomers, and each one of these monomers is like PET, which is polyethyl tetraetide.
Well, you're losing everyone here, getting way technical, Doc.
And if you see over here, number 2 is high density polyethylene. We'll put
All
that.
right, let me try and dumb it down.
Back.
Plastic is a chemical that's based on oil. It's processed from oil, and the base polymers of the different types of them, often they're going to mix other chemicals into them in order to help process them, in order to make them ooze into the molds that they need or get whatever properties. And so often they're adding plasticizers, where plasticizers actually are mostly for actually softening the plastics. So, but those are some of the much more toxic chemicals, and a lot of them, like when you hear of like BPA free, like BPA is one type of additive that is used in processing plastics to make it easier to process, but it had been found to be very toxic and cancer causing. BPA is only one of the very few that got a lot of negative publicity. In general, the plastic producers put in all sorts of other additives some may be harmful, some may not be, to change the properties of the plastics. And that's what you have to watch out for. And that's what
this is the topic of
when you try and research it, there's a flood of misinformation out there. And so you just err on the cautious side, use good ventilation, use a good respirator. So that's another thing. If you're going to get a paper shredder, a toaster oven, some silicone rubber, and a respirator, and I guess some gloves. So that's the like $300 kit of any garage or your backyard. You can start, your plastic recycling studio.
All right, I've been making little notes here on, okay, so to loop it back, because we want to do this a lot, because Marcus and I have these conversations all the time, and it's like choir talking to choir about like the stuff. So people ask us stuff, and we are more than happy to have long conversations with you about how to get your project started. And we're just trying to minimize and also give space to the Plastaholics Anonymous group that will, form. The topic of this discussion was how to, starting DIY recycling in your community. And the 4 or 5, now it's like 6 that I've listed off was, number 1 is add yourself to the map or the forums, map.preciousplastic.com. Make your own social media account or find other people that have your social media account in the area. And I was just going to show real quick my Instagram search of just type in Precious to accounts. And now I have Precious Plastic Paraguay, Precious Plastic Mas, Precious Plastic Guate, Precious Plastic, all of them. There's hundreds of Precious Plastic people out there. And the next would be organize meetups and events. And you can do that by trying to find your local Tinker and Build group or a maker space or a Fab Lab, or I'm going to add to this list your tech college, because I recently audited a course to be a precision CNC machinist and engineer, and realized that taking the class is a full-time job, as well as $5,000 that I could use better in other places right now. And number 5,
I was expecting you to start CNCing us some molds. Jeez.
Here's the reason I did that, is so that I could meet the professor. He could see my hours the first time I talked to him. And he's keen to help the project. And like all professors, he's got students first. And then and then I was going to say number 4.
Wait, so you were on number 3 or number 4?
I'm at number 4 now. We'll stick with it. Which was, persistence pays off. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have gotten in on this project and then they fizzled off. And, you think about when you see articles like, Pittsburgh is building a $340 billion plastic production facility for virgin plastic, and you're trying to wrestle up $4,000 to build these machines. You got to stick with it. You really got to look at these messages that you get sometimes, like Marcus and I get through our social media, where people Precious Plastic version 2 promo video, and they're asking you all these questions. Just stay positive and send them the links to the information. Assign them homework is what
I like. You should add that to your list. Is
Precious Plastic version.
Read the start with the required reading, right? Yeah. So if you want to get involved, like, okay, I'm sure everyone's watched, a handful of Dave's videos, and you learn good little tidbits from those. But there's definitely a lot of other reading. Start with downloading the Precious Plastic Manual.
Number one. That is number one.
Yeah. So you download the manual, and that kind of like just walk through. Some of it can get a little dry, so you probably can't do it all in one sitting. But print it out and keep that. Like I still have one, and it's crinkled up and little notes all over. But that's your like Boy Scout handbook, kind of thing for precious plastic. But just reading, maybe we should, I think that would be a good thing for us to post on our website and social media, would be the precious plastic recommended reading list.
Absolutely. I have my kit open right now, actually.
Yeah. So like I highly recommend Junkraft, which I gave, Garrett my copy of that, but that's
our copy.
But that's an incredible one by another Marcus, Mr. Marcus Erickson, who has sailed to Hawaii on a raft he made out of plastic bottles. He was formerly my neighbor, but I guess still somewhat our neighbor here in Los Angeles. And great guy who runs the Five Gyres Institute, does lots of research on it. But he in that book really will help you understand the nature of the plastic pollution problem. And I would say it's very good for kind of like motivation of being like, this is why I got to do precious plastic,
And for everyone to know, you can read the first 30 pages of it on Google Books, I think.
Okay.
But there is a movie as well for those who are too lazy to read, and I think
not nearly. So the movie kind of only talks about his journey. There's like very little about the like nature of the plastic pollution problem. We're looking at your. You shared the wrong thing again. All you're showing us is your like file structure stuff. Stop your share.
It's only doing the Finder. Okay. Stop share. All right.
I would say share the desktop, not share a specific thing. So when you click share, it's the upper leftmost one.
Jesus, why have I not been doing that?
There you go.
All right.
Ta-da!
Junk. Ta-da!
It was just in Long Beach, near the aquarium for a while, he was saying, but it got moved somewhere now. I forget where he said it was going. So. Keep an eye out at your local museum for the Junkraft.
Yeah. Here we go. It's on Kindle for $14.99, hardcover, paperback.
You're on Audible, it's free.
Yeah. And this is all about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is a big deal,
It is at the Beverly Hills Library. You can get it free there too.
Yeah. And you can, if I use Ecosia now instead of Google, but on Google Books, you can read the first couple.
I try that I did like 9 months of Ecosia, and I love that they plant trees, but the search is like, you have to like, you go search there first, and then you're like, oh crap, I got to go to Google.
Go Google. All right. So for the people, I guess you didn't see what I was bringing up was all the this is the Precious Plastic Master Kit, and this is what you have to find at the website. I'm going to show everyone right now how to go to preciousplastic.com.
Yeah, let's show the navigation here, because like for whatever, like even finding the map is not easy. Yeah. So let's distill how you get. Well, there's a nice button right there. Add yourself to the map.
My desktop.
Yeah, we see your browser right now, so we're good.
Can you see all my bookmarks and crazy conspiracy stuff too? No?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right. So here we have the Precious Plastic homepage. Start collaborating, boost recycling. Add yourself to the map is right down here. Okay. That will bring you to map.preciousplastic.com. We went over the map in depth.
And then you click add pin. That's how you add yourself there. The bright red button, add pin.
Add pin right here.
Just in case it's not obvious.
Yeah. The add pin right there. And that's how you'll start your whole making of a precious plastic profile, which will re-navigate you to davehackins.nl. Dave Hackins is the founder of the project. And then to actually download the whole kit, you go back to preciousplastic.com. Up here in the top right, you say start. Okay, hey, welcome. Awesome. Here, ready? I feel like I can hear Dave in my head saying, in his charming Netherlandian accent. And here you have mission, workspaces, machines, all that stuff. Here's all the chapters.
It was cool. I didn't know that we got Richard Shredder his extruder is signed by Dave Hackins.
Hey,
Dave was here.
nice.
In a little secret spot though. It's cool. But okay, let you get back to giving us
all good. Yeah.
So where do you download that guide? Which one is it?
So if you look to the left here, there's all these chapters, and then down here is download. Okay. Download kit. Okay. This is the whole master kit. I'm not going to download it again.
Yeah, so that's got that PDF. It even has like posters. It's even already got the little like recycle logos that you can stick on your bins. It's got everything in there.
I think
all the drawings.
I thought it was 2 gigs, but it's only 257 megabytes with 11 items. Okay, it's got intro, plastics, building. So it's got all the different, we'll just do the shredder since it's the most popular, but it's got
open one of the PDFs, yeah, just so you can see.
This is the overview of the shredder, and you say, great.
That's what sucked me in. So like once I download the kit and I saw this and I was like, wait a minute, they're giving me all this stuff free? Like I could just go build this? Like I remember as a little kid, like in the back of Boys Life magazine, it was like build your own air car. And I had to like pay like $9.95 to get like the plans of how to build the air car. And I was like, wait, I can just build all these cool plastic recycling machines. That was what hooked me. That was my
and the CAD files. So you can actually you have the 3D models here as well. So like we were saying, this is one of the biggest parts of it. And like we said, it does have the logo so that you can make your own logo. They encourage you to make your own logo. And then all these posters here, the different types of plastic, the floating properties of plastic, the physical properties of plastic, and the visual properties of plastic. All of this stuff in a neat little kit. And then you're in it. And then if you want to go even more in depth, you can go to the Precious Plastic Forum.
Look at that. You got a shortcut to it.
I have a shortcut. Plastic LA, my Spark up here too. I live this stuff, Marcus. General ideas and suggestions, machine development. You have to scroll down. You'll notice that it doesn't say precious plastic anymore. It says davehackins.nl/community/forums. This will change after October. For now, this is what is happening here. And this is with Precious Plastic. You can navigate straight to the Precious Plastic forums. And they have all these things. There's 667 topics, lots to sort through. So it's been the job of the community to discuss what we're doing, and like any open source project, develop it for everyone and share what we're doing, and to tell everyone. We'll just get into like machine development.
Yeah, and some great places to kind of like get lost in are exploring people's creations. Like I feel like that's a great one to really inspire you and help you figure out. I would say that's one of my other recommendations to someone who's kind of looking to get started, is start thinking about what you want to make, because that will help you figure out what machines you need, what plastics, where you need to research. So, I guess I would say it's kind of like working backwards. So if you go look at the creations that people have made from the community and either say, I'd like to make one of those too, or that gave me an idea to make that. And if you find someone that make it, send them a note. Tell them, that is amazing what you made. I want to make that too. Can you help me do it? And most of them are going to be super happy to help you figure it out. And they're going to share, like, so yeah, here's some beautiful, stools and
Ooh.
tables. And so these guys, if you, just send them a note and be like, hey,
these guys are
help me figure it out. What kind of machine did you use? What's your process? They'll probably have some video already online that they'll share, how it all works. Or if not, they'll,
hey, there's them with
hop on
Dave.
a call with you.
What's up? Look at this beautiful bench that they made.
Yeah. Do you know what they made that with?
I believe the extruder. Can you read Ukrainian over here?
No, but maybe they,
Yeah, that looks like extruded plastic beams right there. I was really impressed with these guys I've been following for a while. Wow, look at that map. Wow.
So that's definitely sheet press stuff. Yeah. I think most of theirs is sheet press, so they might be. Everyone, we really want to build a sheet. Oh, look at that guitar! That's sick.
Oh, nerding hard right now.
So I kind of offended Richard last night. I felt bad. When I said that watch. You saw the watch that I posted that someone made. One of the precious plastic guys. I said, oh, that's like the coolest thing I've seen, made out of precious plastic. And then like right behind me is his jellyfish that's like 20 feet tall. He's be like, wait, you mean this isn't the coolest thing you ever
Oh man.
I was like, wow. Like go back. But
we gotta look at Richard Wilkes jelly now.
Yeah. So this
is buddy. This thing's
all made with the extruder. Oh, one interesting tidbit I just learned last night. See all those cans? Wait, go back to that one. Wait, go back to the other one. So see all those little trash can like lids around? Those are like little benches that he turned into lights. So he had LEDs in there. So, because at Burning Man, things are dark at night. So
yeah.
Like note your space. So each one of those glowed. And there were little benches, but then he could tell the story. He'd like, this sculpture was made out of those recycled, which those are like old used 55-gallon drums for, that only get used once, and they stored some kind of chemical in them,
All right, so we agree that this is the coolest thing made out of precious plastic. Definitely the largest thing made out of precious plastic that, I've seen. And of course, like it was at Burning Man, so there was probably some half naked people and fully naked people touching it. And wow, it's really something.
Yeah. Yeah. So Richard, I apologize if
it's a zoetrope for those. Richard, we love you. Dave Hackins was here.
Yeah. Actually, there's his Dave Hackins was here. Yeah. So actually, two shout outs that are kind of related to Richard. One is last night, him and we decided on our next demo day. So October 23rd, that's a Wednesday night from 6 to 8. We're going to host the demo day at his workspace, which is at the brewery in Boyle Heights. And I'm sure if you follow us in all our places that you'll find more details on that. And you'll get to see that jellyfish zoetroping and all its amazing beauty at that event. And then it's that's his excuse to get it all set up and working perfect and cleaning up his space, because also they have the brewery art walk on that Saturday and Sunday. So what are the dates of that? That's the
which
26th and 27th. So
26th and 27th is
October.
the art walk?
Yeah, so 23rd is the Precious Plastic LA demo day. We'll probably like start with kind of a little more of a workshop, and then do like an hour of just networking, showing off creations, like have other people from the community have built things come out. So if there's anyone out there who's built stuff in LA or LA vicinity or going to be visiting LA, reach out to us and we can give you a little spot to showcase your creations. But then that weekend, the 26th and 27th, is the Brewery Art Walk, which I still have never been to. I hear is amazing. It sounds like it's just swarming with people in all the different artist studios. You can check stuff out. And so then Richard will be, showcasing his jellyfish and the machines and other creations there as well. So if
Nice.
you're out in Florida and then you somehow, have a flight planned to come to Los Angeles and it ends up being between October 23rd and 26th, then you're probably going to have a lot of precious plastic related stuff to do.
Well, I will, in the Florida realm of things going on, be at a special little gathering called Halloween at the Spirit of Swanee Music Park up in Live Oak, Florida, with Frick Frack Blackjack, though we'll also be trying to bring my plastic shredder and things to do precious plastic because, sometimes I work these other gigs at events and I still want to be able to shred plastic. So for the Florida events coming up, number one, Halloween, which is the 26th of October. And then after that will be the Florida Afterburn, which I applied for an art grant for precious plastic to be at, which is November 1st and November through the 3rd, I believe. And then very excited tomorrow to be talking to some friends from Miami about a very super secret, had to sign an NDA Art Basel event that I will possibly be bringing my giant shredder to, my industrial plastic granulator, and making some pendant keychains for that event, and possibly making some other objects depending on if I get funding and a big name sponsor.
So if you're a big name
Art
sponsor
Basel
with a
in
lot of
Miami.
money, reach out to Precious Plastic.
No, we already have them. They're on the hook. It's just about the potential. So that will be December 5th through the 8th. And I'll have more details on that after I talk to them tomorrow, though it is a big deal. And it's Art Basel. And Precious Plastic Miami is really taking off down there. I'm on the other coast, and I'm talking to a bunch of people in Miami. It's a huge market, and art market and things of that nature. So those are our upcoming events, and we'll post all this stuff. And Marcus, do you think we should do this like every week? It's only 1:30 a.m. here.
Yeah, we can see on your that it's a good hour for you. Well, once a week might be a little, we'll burn everyone out. So, but at least once or twice a month.
I mean, we hardly had time to talk about
all the things.
I think we covered everything, actually.
But yeah, I mean, definitely bring in some guests on to kind of like talk about specific topics, I think is good.
We have a lot of friends. I know it seems like it's just me and Marcus here, though. We have a lot of outside of this computer screen.
Yeah, it's a good community, and I mean, I'm a big fan of kind of connecting people through video, so we don't have to fly and drive and whatever, so we can really bring people in. I mean, we connected with Mr. Dave Hackins and Mattia over video at one point when they were like in Portugal or something, right? Yeah. They were like
very accessible,
calling us from out of their truck and stuff. But it's just a great way to bring people in. I mean, maybe we want to try doing the next one just as kind of the open forum Precious Plastic USA, like we did a year and a half ago. Just kind of like check, like I haven't heard of any other video meetups in that group. That might be
I would hope we would be invited. We're doing a lot. This is my full-time job.
Yeah, but
Like,
so that could be a fun way to kind of engage a little more. And I mean, all this is about collaboration and finding out different opportunities, learning what successes other people are having, and helping others out, that sort of thing. So and anyone who is still watching here or listening, please reach out to us, even if it's just to say hi, but say what you liked about these video casts, or you'd like to see more of in the future. But let us know what you're doing or what you're interested to do, and like we're here to help you out if we can. This is a community that people don't join the precious plastic community because we're trying to make a lot of money doing it. We're all doing it because we want to make an impact, that there's a big global problem going on, and we think that this is a good way to approach it, and through building the community and building an awareness and solutions, that we can actually make an impact globally. I mean, you saw on the map and everything what the scale of the people all around the world doing it, and the more that everyone who's interested can kind of get aligned and working toward a common goal, that's how we actually make an impact on a global level. So, bold closing statements.
Oh, I forgot. Monday night. Yes, thank you, everyone making, doing their part in their local community. And Monday night I will be on 96.5 WSLR Indigenous Sounds Radio from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's here in Sarasota, Florida, for anyone who's here. And I will be talking a little bit about precious plastic, hopefully more about Indigenous rights and stuff of that nature. I obviously would love to bring precious plastic to Native American nations, aka reservations as we call them, and talking about that on Monday night. So that's the most immediate next event happening. And totally reach out to myself or Marcus, as he said, myself in Florida and Marcus in LA, and as myself in about Los Angeles matters. And Marcus, I have a very, that thing I mentioned about the big corporate thing in Santa Barbara. So they might actually be paying my way to come out for a visit. And, we like to stay connected, and video is a great way to do that. And hopefully these podcasts or these video casts will help us, stay connected with the greater precious plastic community.
Yeah, and we'll post the recording of this, probably put it up on the Precious Plastic YouTube, so that it is forever on the internet, for better or worse. Hopefully, we don't.
Dr. Rosenthal and Professor Cadou's Precious Plastic Hour.
Precious Plastic Hour. But yeah.
Precious Plastic Hour. Yeah. I've yet to even talk about my recycle mobile. I mean, that's a whole nother. All right, buddy. Well, it's 1:32 a.m. in the morning here, and I've been keeping the neighbors up all night. So I'm going to get in.
All right. Good job. Okay. Well, yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for those of you who did log in, and we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Trying to make this a little bit more PG for everyone else who's watching. Usually Marcus and I cuss like sailors.
Oh, is that what we do? All right, I'm gonna stop the recording here.